That's dope.
What is up, everybody? It is Monday, September 13th at 1:30 p.m. Eastern Daily Time, and I am back again for a second time to talk to you guys about Bitcoin and altcoins. Obviously, this morning's video was about a leverage trade that I took on Bitcoin, as well as all of the news in the markets. And man, there is a ton of it. But there was one news story that I missed that I'm going to discuss in a moment because it obviously drastically affected the market. But first, I want to talk about Kava, our amazing sponsor. I've been telling you guys about them week in, week out, week in, week out. Well, I hope that last Thursday you caught the AMA that I did with Kevin Davis, their head of engineering. It's just incredible to me to hear people who are building in this industry and with these projects speak, because it's generally so above my head and so brilliant, all the things that are happening in this space. Really, really just an impressive, compelling conversation. So you guys can check that out from last Thursday. It's on my channel. We did an AMA. You guys asked amazing questions. You can find out everything that you need to know right down in the description about Kava. Please click on that link, read about them, check them out. I mean, basically, you can just think of it as institutional grade DeFi, meaning that they're actually secure. You don't have to worry about rugs, rug pulls, and just a really, really secure platform that institutions and retail alike can build on. And they recently launched Swap, which is their AMM. I'm actually curious if any of you guys have tested it. I would love to see in the comments, those of you who have tested out Kava, what your experience has been with Swap. I touched it a bit. I find it really, really awesome and compelling, but I would love to hear your guys' thoughts on it. So please let me know if you have done it. So listen, let's talk about the one piece of news right here that clearly shook the market right after I took my trade and right after the video. So 1 second here, guys. Here we go. Let me share my screen. Boom. Walmart. So at some point during my live stream this morning, when I took that leverage long on that bull div, which I will go over a bit again, price went basically from 44,500 up to over 46,000, was looking really bullish. I didn't know this, but apparently at the time, Walmart had announced, theoretically, that they were going to start taking Litecoin payments, or it had been leaked. It went on a PR news wire. It was all over the news. Reuters, CNBC, like huge mainstream news reported Walmart was going to take Litecoin payments. First of all, anyone in the industry knows that probably Litecoin would not be the first coin that you would choose for those payments. Nothing against Litecoin. I just think it would be a basket. But anyways, that news was immediately proven fake. Walmart spokesperson said, no idea what we're talking about here. And we saw a market-wide rinse, immediately reset prices back and below from where they were. Really, really crazy price action. So if you're wondering what happened this morning, it was largely a result of this Walmart news. Now, the question is, why would somebody put that fake news out? We can only speculate, and I'm not one for conspiracy theory. So I don't know the answer to that. Maybe it was somebody who was trying to trap some positions and make some money. That's definitely possible. Maybe it was someone just trolling. Maybe. Possibly. It's an announcement that's coming, and Walmart just didn't want it out yet, and it's a leak. But I don't think it would be Litecoin. Listen, I think that if Walmart was going to accept payments, they would create a Walmart coin. They would probably start with Bitcoin, maybe stable coins. But yeah, I don't know why Litecoin apparently tweeted it. That's what someone said here. Why the hell would Litecoin tweet it? I kind of missed that part, but I did hear that they tweeted it, then deleted the tweet. All in all, this is really, really fishy. My concern with things like this is don't we have enough problems right now with the optics of our industry and with the SEC and them saying that the market's easily manipulated and all of those nonsensical things? Now, listen, this market moves on things like this very clearly, right? Litecoin Foundation tweeted it. That's the answer. So listen, maybe it is the fact, maybe it is the fact that it's a leak and something that's coming. But the last thing we need is that more fuel for the fire for the SEC to say, look how easy this market is manipulated. And people, I see a lot of you over here are saying, that you saw me on Banter earlier, and I was discussing this with Ran, who's a legend, absolutely amazing. And yeah, it's just, it's not what we need right now to have more spotlight on this nonsense. But really, it's funny that the SEC talks about that manipulation when we know that the real manipulation in markets is the Fed printing money to buy equities and bonds, right? Nothing compares to that. So the whole argument is fundamentally nonsense. But interesting that we did see what happened there. Now, I want to talk about quickly, I'm going to close this up. I want to talk a little bit about leverage in general. Okay, because I forgot, I used to trade with leverage quite a lot. And it was when I had less followers. And so it's really interesting. I forgot how emotional and, well, trollish, but emotional people are about leverage trades. First, I appreciate that people are so passionate about my personal financial decisions. But like instantly when you tweet something about a leverage trade, it's all, you got wrecked, you did this, you did that, blah, 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 liquidated, ha, 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 and then people literally jumping in and saying I got liquidated because price went down a couple $100. So first, I want to make a few things clear. Leverage is a tool to avoid counterparty risk, which means that you don't have to have as much money on an exchange. You can just use, if you're using 10x leverage, you can have 1/10 of the money on the exchange for the same position. If you're using a stop loss that's well above your liquidation, the amount of leverage you use is irrelevant. Okay, that's A. B, there are tax reasons for an American, I discussed this morning, tax reasons to use leverage if you're an American, because as I said before, I started reporting crypto earnings to the government in 2016. I made the mistake at that time of using FIFO, first in, first out. Once you lock in to a strategy, you basically have to continue reporting using that. What does that mean? If I took a spot trade, let's call it 50,000, a spot trade at 50,000 with a stop loss at 49,000, because I think that's invalidated my idea, right? I buy at 50,000. I sell at 49,000. You would think that I have a tax write-off of 1,000 against gains, right? But no, I don't. What I have is a taxable gain on the first Bitcoin I bought. So I bought Bitcoin at $1,800. I'm getting rid of these EOS people over here. I bought Bitcoin at $1,800-ish. That means I have a taxable gain, long-term cap gains from 1,800 to 49,000 and no loss, right? So if you do it with leverage, that completely eliminates that. It's a completely different system in trade. If you're using highest in, first out, or last in, first out, the tax implications are different. But for me, anytime I sell Bitcoin, I'm selling the first Bitcoin I bought. Understand that, right? So that's 2. 3, when I trade leverage, as you guys know, I only use 15% of my portfolio for trading and all of that in general. Right? 15% of my portfolio trading, like Uniswap coins, all of that. And I never risk more than 1% of that portfolio on a trade, generally, especially if it's leverage. And in this case, the position I took, as I said when I was explaining this morning, was the beginning of a position that I wanted to theoretically build, right? And so even if my stop hit, and I hadn't moved it down, even if my stop hit, 0.25% of my trading portfolio lost, which is like a fraction of my entire portfolio, right? This is a very small, tiny position that I would like to build over time if I'm right about this being the bottom. And that's a strategy. And getting stopped out is completely irrelevant to me. It's a nominal amount of money for me. It does not really matter. Who gave you that tax advice? Well, I didn't have an accountant when I first did taxes in 2016 for my crypto. And it doesn't really matter because I hold positions for a long time anyways, but it definitely affects my spot trading. But back to the other stream of conscience about leverage trading. So it's a very small percentage of the portfolio being managed in a very specific way. But what I find so interesting is how many people believe that a drop would get me liquidated. If you are considering leverage trading, which maybe you should not, liquidation should never be in the picture. Like literally, ever. Liquidation is not a stop loss. First of all, if you get liquidated rather than stopping out a few dollars above your stop, you pay into the insurance fund on most of these platforms. On BitMEX for a while, you could take 40% of a bigger loss by being liquidated rather than having a stop loss a couple dollars above. So that's one. That's the structure of how these work, how they have an insurance fund. So you should always use stop loss. But B, like liquidate, you don't choose your position size based on where your liquidation is. You do it like any spot trade. You find your stop loss, you determine your take profit, you determine your position size, and you do that accordingly. It should not change with liquidation leverage, and liquidation should never, ever, ever be a thing. You should never, ever be able to get liquidated on a leverage trade. If you get liquidated or that's even in play, you are doing it wrong. Okay? That's it. That's what I'm going to say about leverage trading. It should be something you do very small. It's something that I do very rarely. I have high conviction in the setup, and I'll show you it to you again now why, for the reason that for those of you who missed it this morning. So here, I'm going to take a look at the trade that I took. And listen, you probably shouldn't leverage trade. You don't need to, right? 10x leverage is just an opportunity to lose your money 10 times faster. A smaller amount, but 10 times faster. And the fact, unless you can manage your risk exceptionally well, like there's people who use liquidation of their entire portfolio as their stop loss. Don't be a dummy. Don't be a dummy. All right, you guys can see my charts here, just making sure. Yep. Okay, well, here's I'm going to tell you the premise of the trade. Then we're going to go into altcoins. I want to show you, I talk about it a lot, but I want to show you a bunch of examples that I tried to pull up of the kind of setup that we're seeing play out over and over again right now. Okay, first, we have this golden cross. You know, I'm not an MA trader in general, but when you have a golden cross that's right at price and both the MAs are there, you would expect them to hold as support. They are not right now. But my premise was we still have the whole day. So all we have to do is go up $1,000 from here. And both of those would hold as support, which could be a catalyst up. 50 MA, 200 MA, tons of algorithms, bots, and traders place orders on these lines. Tons, right? So if other people are watching it, I want to be watching it. But here's my trade, right? Here's the actual trade. I entered at 44,704, 44,706, whatever it is my average. This was my stop loss. Guys, I know it looks nuts. I posted it though. You guys watched me do it on the earlier video. I mean, here, price stopped at 43,401. And listen, I was on calls. I was not like managing this. And my stop's at 43,351, right? I got lucky. Right? $50. I don't know, good stop loss placement or luck came within $50, maybe less, right? So I did not stop out here. The premise of that stop loss was that I was playing this channel and I wanted to give enough room for a wick. Well, that's exactly what happened. I did not expect this crazy Darth Maul candle. And the purpose of a candle like this after that Walmart news is it liquidates people on both sides. Shorts and longs get wrecked and you reset right back to the same price. Liquidates everyone, somebody makes a ton of money. But the premise of the trade was that we're sitting at a strong support, even though it's been tapped a few times. We have this descending channel, which should break up to the upside. And most importantly for me, this is what I use as a signal. People think it's dumb. People don't like it. I'm telling you, it's the highest. I've been trading for a long time. I've tried a million things. If you get RSI oversold, you look for bullish divergence, and that's usually a bottom, especially on the 4-hour chart and when it builds up. We had bullish divergence, hidden bearish divergence. That cancels this bull div. But then as we often see, continuation of the bull div, a continuing longer bull div. So from here to here, you have bullish divergence, and here to here, although that's over a longer than 14 candle period, putting them together, you get this nice, massive bull div. Look, we have another one right here potentially. Even though we have 2 hours left in the candle, you see this low, lower low. We have a higher low right now in RSI. So this could be another little bull div right here. So maybe if you drill into the hourly, you see this bullish divergence. See? So now we have bullish divergence on the hourly and the 4-hour, potentially on the 6-hour. This 6-hour, this hasn't closed. So we actually had a bull div right here on the 6-hour, but this is not a very definitive elbow up, which you want, but this could still end up. This is in action. No, it won't. 15 minutes. So we want to see this now go up here, right? Higher low, lower low. Let's go to the 12-hour. I like when you see them with the potential of compounding. That's why I decided I'm taking a leverage trade for the first time in ages. 4-hour confirmed, and I saw it was possible on other time frames. I want to see 4-hour, 6-hour, 12-hour daily. That's what I'm looking for. 12-hour, very clearly potential bullish divergence if this makes a higher low. Daily will look the same. Slightly lower low on price. We would need price to go up a bit and make this a potentially higher low and head up. That's the premise for my trade. That's why I like it. And even with all that volatility, this premise was not violated. That's the dangerous part about leverage, and the dangerous part, though, about trading on a bullish divergence. It doesn't give you an exact price for where you're valid or invalid. And so it wasn't invalidated here. And so you need to actually give it a more generous stop. As I described this morning, I mean, if we flip this level up here, I'll probably add. And I actually thought about taking a stop down here in even a smaller position. I have room to add to this position. And then if we get the test back again of the top of this range, adding more to it. But listen, this is how I set it when I started. I generally set it, forget it. I did that live stream this morning. I immediately had to go do crypto banter. And 1 minute after I got off crypto banter, I jumped on a podcast with Benjamin Minku of Elrond. The minute I got off that, I had a meeting. The minute I got off that, I came here, set up, and started this. So I'm not managing these trades. And if you have to actively manage it to the second, you're probably doing it wrong. But that's the trade. I'm still live, about $300 under my entry, as you can see, and I barely didn't stop out. So I hope that makes some sense to you guys. But yeah, so I go on Twitter, and I'm used to being trolled. It's fine. I don't care. But it's the nature of it and the way I can't imagine these people who are commenting. I can't imagine how bad they are at leverage trading or what they've experienced to be putting those kind of concepts. This is a great point and something I teach all the time. Right. I also heard you never move your stops. I say that all the time. And stop loss is based on how much you're willing to lose risk versus how much you will gain. Put stop loss at the maximum possible loss you're willing to take on the trade. That is generally true. But for me, in this situation, my plan was to start a position and kind of see what happens. But I didn't move my stop. And I wouldn't have. I would have allowed it to stop out. Right. And then maybe look for a different position or just move on with my life and continue trading spot. Right. How am I going to make anything from $100 without leverage trading? Seems impossible. I would say the best way to do that is fold it in half and put it back in your pocket. All you're going to do if you take 100, that attitude is the exact reason that everybody loses their small account, reloads their small account, loses it again, loses it again, loses it again. You cannot magically turn your $100 into $10,000 with leverage. You're just decreasing your margin for error to a point where you can't make any money. Right? It's unfortunate. Nobody wants to hear that there's no quick fix, but But taking $100 and using heavy leverage, you're just going to get liquidated and have $0 to trade with. You'd rather turn 100 into 110 and then turn that 110 into 120 and continue like that, doing it the right way. You'd be very shocked at how fast you can gain money doing that. Very shocked at how fast. Reading through the comments over here. Sorry, guys. What percentage do you put your stop loss at? For me, it's not a percentage. As I explained there, I first look at where I want to enter, right? Price was right there. So if I enter here, where's my stop loss? Where is the closest place to my entry that my trade idea is invalidated? It has nothing to do with the percentage. So that's that line for me, was like, if it wicks really far below this channel, or if it had closed below that channel, then I would probably have manually closed it if it was higher. But if it wicks this far below the channel, I'm probably wrong. By the way, it could have wicked and I would have still been right on my trade, and I would have lost. I would have stopped out. I almost stopped out even being right. I'm still not wrong in my opinion. Right? So it's not a percentage. What you do is you find your entry, then you find your stop loss, and then you determine how big your position is based on how much you will lose. If you're like, I can lose $1,000 on this trade, your position size is determined by what $1,000 loss will be from your entry to your stop loss. It has nothing to do with a percentage. Some people do that because it's like easier to mentally process, but that is not the way that you generally do it. Did we find the bottom? I have no idea, but this looks like a bottoming pattern to me. Enough like a bottoming pattern that I was willing to use leverage and say, listen, like if I found the bottom here, I'm willing to take the risk because the reward is so high. Right? If this is the bottom of this move, and we know rationally that this move from 50 whatever down to where to hit 41, 42 something, right? Why did this move happen? We saw it's a leverage cascade. The same reason we've had the huge moves before, right? It was fully a function of leverage traders, nothing to do with the spot market. We did not see the dump on spot market. In fact, the biggest whales accumulated more in their wallet. So that means price basically went down further than it should have because of leverage and liquidations. So my premise was that that move was already somewhat done. I'm looking for a bottom here. I'm still bullish. If I had flipped bearish, then I wouldn't be looking for longs. But I was looking for an excuse to find a bottom. And I might still stop out here. I may determine that I need to manage this trade differently after this stream. But, you know, it's going to definitely matter what happens. But my idea is to trade it back up to 52,776 and then reevaluate. So I would definitely, I mean, you know, right now I have a take profit of like 10% of the position here, right around here, another 20% up here. So I let some ride, but if it flips that, by the way, this should be here. If it flips and I like to front run it, I never put my target right on it because shorters will front run it. And if it flips that, then we'll start talking about higher targets. I might add to it, but I'm trying to build a position here that I could hold. Because what if, and you should not be thinking this on every position, but what if we've found the bottom and this is going to new highs and I can get in with very minimal risk on a position with exponential upside. But that's true when you buy with spot too. It's true when you buy with spot too. So that's my idea. And I might be wrong, guys. I might be wrong. I don't know why people are so afraid of being wrong. What about Plan B's prediction of 43? I think he said 43,500 to close September. I love Plan B. I love him. Had him on the podcast. You guys should listen to that episode. I think it might have been my most popular ever. Him and Sailor's first one, maybe. But it's an idea. And he'll be the first to tell you he can't tell the future. He didn't think we'd drop as far as we did. It's still back in line with his model. But models fail and predictions are guesses. That's it for everyone. Him and all of us. All we can do is make our best guess. And that's the biggest problem is if you're someone with a large audience, you make a guess and people hold you to it as if you have a crystal ball, right? And like I rail against leverage a lot. So it's a kind of a tough place for me to be. I want to be transparent with you guys about the trades I make. So I literally take a shot of it and show you. But then people are like, you're teaching people to trade with leverage. And I try to be honest about the way that I'm approaching that, right? Okay. But as Jason said, there is no get rich quick way. No get rich quick, right? So whatever. Let's, I'm just, sorry, I'm scanning through your comments. I'm not the greatest multitasker. Rub my chest and tap my head at the same time, though. I can do that. Awesome. No one knows except Jesus. Cool. All right. So listen, I'm going to go through ETH. We're going to look at what happened with Litecoin, and then I'm going to go through a bunch of coins, and so that we can then try to identify the same patterns over and over again. This is what you want to do. This is what I alluded to in the tweet about this and in the description, and when I talked about this video. The best way to trade altcoins, in my opinion, everybody has their own way. I used to use volume monitors. So like if I saw a spike in volume precedes price. That worked very well in 2017. These days, I don't have time to degenerate trade and really be looking at low time frames like that. So what you want to find is like, what's the pattern of the coins that went nuts? And then just go try to find that pattern before it happens in other coins. But first, I just want to check where Ethereum's at. I mean, Ethereum's in a way, like, this is not particularly bearish, right? I mean, let me fix that. And this was still the idea, has not happened thus far. It did stop here. You could have probably gotten stopped out there. But the idea of this is that this should still be reaching the top of the channel on the Bitcoin pair because it's above the EQ. Had all this resistance here, broke above, has not been retested. So if it does drop, I would bid the hell out of this dash line right here, 0.067 if you're on the Bitcoin pair. But it's consolidating here against what was resistance, should pop up. But on the USD pair, you can see it's the same exact setup as Bitcoin, right? And where's that Bitcoin chart? Doesn't that look the same as that? And that's because they're moving generally in tandem on the USD pair, but we have this same massive bullish divergence building, and we had that same bearish divergence there on the 4 hour. It'll look the same, I bet, on the 6. Yep, potential. Although actually there's no bull divs here because these are higher right now. So Bitcoin actually has a bigger advantage there on the bullish divergences than Ethereum does, but it's the same exact idea, right? Nice bullish divergence coming out of oversold. So I think Ethereum will look good. Let's look at Litecoin, my God. So listen, no surprise here. This candle is hideous, but this makes perfect sense because it's exactly where it started. fake news, proven fake news, right back to where it started. So that makes this terrible, ugly upwick, which is very, very bearish in theory, but we know it's a reaction to news and not necessarily a natural event. On the USDT pair, this was the resistance, right? At 189, broke through, right back to where it was trading, right? I mean, this day started at 182, we're at 178. And this morning, people were like, should I jump into Litecoin? And I was on the video and I said, at this point, price was here. I said, unless you're closing a candle up here, you do not want to touch this. You would want a retest of 232 as support, right? Like that. But you do not want to buy right into that resistance, inevitably right back down. So now, like above 189, you start considering this. I personally, if the Litecoin Foundation really tweeted that and there's something going on here, there's other things to trade. I wouldn't be looking at this. All right. So now the pattern that we're looking for at the moment for the big, especially for layer one coins, in my opinion, is a break of the all-time high, retest as support. One of the greatest setups there is in trading is price discovery. Blue skies ahead, no targets, nothing but clean air. Breathe it in, right? Solana is a great example. Okay. This is the Solana Bitcoin pair. We can actually trail way back on this. Okay. This here at 0.0004228 right here, this was the all-time high from August 20th until it was broken in April of 21. Right? 8 months, something like that. That's a real all-time high. These little local ones don't count as much, right? So you had this huge move. Look, this was a trade that we had in the newsletter right here. First, we had the breakout here. It retested both the descending resistance and the zone. I'll never forget posting this trade. See, we had an alarm on it and everything. So this was one trade. The next one was right here and then bananas, right? From 0.004228 all the way to here, right? It's like a 10, almost a 10x at the top, right? More than a 10x. So what was the entry? Break of all-time high. Retested support. Yes, it wicked below. ADA is doing that right now. We'll look at that. Wicked below and then mooned, right? So you can make the same argument. This was the ultimate high of this move in May. It took all the way until August to get back there, flipped it, tested it to the penny as support there. Split it, closed above, retested right here, and then has absolutely mooned, right? So now maybe you just like start drawing new lines. That's not the point. The point is to find the coins that are here, right? It's great to buy all the dips on these coins. Nothing wrong with that. But the point is to find it here before that parabolic move to the upside. USD pair, right? Let's go back. So first we had this high here, and then these highs here, This was a really big all-time high. Let's just go into here at 58 bucks because we were talking about that here. So look, topped out, right? Topped out. Got this descending resistance. The break. This is a signal that this downtrend is over and it's ready to go back up. It breaks, flips levels all the way up here. This got front run by 30 cents. Break. Almost retest. This is why you don't buy things at once and sell things at once. You spread bids all around, right? If you're buying an altcoin, especially if you're doing it with size to not rock the market. And then absolutely parabolic from $58. 58 to 216. Right? Yeah, there are people that bought this at $3 this year. Like Sam Bankman-Fried was trolling people about it back then. And this was your first break. $4.95 was your first chance to do this. Now you can buy the breakout. The problem is you just have to watch for a wick, and I'll show you why just buying the breakout, not the retest, is dangerous. So that's the idea on Sol. Let's look at Luna. Bitcoin pair. Okay. This was at the time. That's not the one I want. Okay, we had the first all-time high here. So we can basically call it right here. Broke through, but this is the one we want to talk about. Okay. March, topped out here on the Bitcoin pair, failed to retest, dump in May, all the way back up, rejected. Now, if you were zooming in, we could do that. Well, whatever. If we were zooming in, we could do the same thing, but you see the idea here, right? Big break on a major candle, flip. Might have missed it. Got to spread those orders around and continuing up. Maybe you get the same opportunity here with this new all-time high at 0.007571. Luna, same thing on the tether pair, right? This was a high. We've got a lot of them below, but like, $22.40. This went all the way up to 44. I showed you this bull flag. It hit almost all the targets depending on your measurement. But now anything above $22 is price discovery for Luna. New all-time high here. But you get the idea, right? Break, retest. Well, actually, this retested exactly. Look, let's get rid of this. Yeah, there's the example. See? Break, retest to the penny, price discovery. ADA on the Bitcoin pair, this is the previous high of closes, but this is nowhere near yet the previous all-time high in the Bitcoin pair. So not worth discussing on that, but we have the dollar pair. Look, ADA, April 2018, May 2018 made a high. Downtrend from there, 0.389, 38 cents. Finally came back years later, rejected, consolidation at resistance, breakout, that second candle right there, break, retest of the previous all-time high, 38 cents as support, and mamma mia, all the way up, right? And we have this new all-time high at 247. We're trading right below. And yes, I said on ADA, just like I was telling you on Sol, it can trade around it, consolidate around resistance. But this officially was a new high breakout. You want to theoretically, assuming you believe in the Alonzo hard fork, get long here around support, previous test of all-time high. I realize I've been talking for a while here, so I'm coming back over to the okay. Yeah, Elon, we're going to talk about before the possible break. So listen, I'm just trying to give you examples. I'm sorry, trying to teach something here. Trying to teach something. But the answer is that we saw it coming with the breaks of the resistance, right? This is where you saw it coming, that it was likely to happen. Let's look at algo. Okay. This is on the Bitcoin pair, not as relevant. Let's look at algo on the USD pair. Okay. Let's draw this. Look. This is the one that shakes you out, by the way. We had this descending resistance, a high that was intact all the way from February, breakout and retest. Of course, everything shook on that day. And then, so you can get in here. There's the move to the all-time high. And now I posted this just the other day, right before it happened. Retest of 184, continuing up. Algo's still looking pretty good. The market right now is a little shaky, so I'm not sure. But this should continue way up, just like Solana. So if you get another dip down to this area, that's where I'd be looking for it. But this was your move. Elrond. Price discovery on the Bitcoin pair. Break, retest, move up. After breaking descending resistance. You guys seeing this? Listen, I can't find them all. I haven't even looked that deeply, but every pattern of all these massive moves is the same. Right? Topped out at 245. Downtrend. Break, retest, and flipped every level. Now has flipped. I bet this is almost to the dollar. Okay, so this is at 245. So far, it got down to 249. I'm going to bid that when we're done. I have e-gold from $10. I've told everyone, you all know. This was the pattern I used to look for. When the market was bad and reversing, this was the pattern we were looking for, the rounded bottom. You guys will remember that. We had tons of them, right? So let me look here. Atom. Here's the newest one. And this one we were ahead of. So I guess we'll have to go digging for ones that are behind on. Atom. But I'd rather, teach a man to fish, give a man a fish, feed him for a day, teach a man to fish. He gets out of your life and you never have to talk to him again because he's out on the boat, right? Like, leave me alone, bro. I taught you to fish. Shut up. Atom Bitcoin breaking all-time high today. So you would bid here, assuming you get the close. But let's look at it on the USD pair, right? Let's look. Okay, this one was a little more jagged. We'll call it that. But I've been posting this and talking about it since 17 bucks. Yeah, it's only a little 2x in a couple months. Sorry, in a couple weeks. Dropped, range, broke out, headed up, flipped the range, flipped this area here, and now we're flipping, and there's your retest. Atom still looks good here. Yes, you're $5 too late, in theory. But that's nothing if this continues into price discovery and continues going up, right? Big break. Look at all this volume on the way up. You want volume to agree with price. If volume is going down and price is going up, that's a warning signal. If price is going up and volume is going up, it's time to pay attention. So this is it. It's going into price discovery as we speak. So this is probably the closest one right now. And then we have some we're going to be looking at. AVAX, Avalanche, rejected here. This is a bearish SFP for now. Tons of liquidity here. We need to see a major move, but look at all this volume. Look at that, right? We had the highs, breakthrough resistance of the descending line, head up to all-time highs. So now you're looking for this. It might retrace more. This when I say a bearish SFP, that's this wick where it fails to close above a previous major swing high. Means that someone was looking to push price up there to fill some sell orders. So you're looking for this, right? Let's look at it on the dollar pair. This made it same thing, right? Right into close to price discovery. But look here. Yeah, it happened faster. Break, retest. That's this. It just happened over here. Break of this zone, retest. It's exactly what happened. Hit the target. Rejected. This was the trade. $21 to 60 bucks. 3x from August. I made an entire video about this trade at this point. So now what do you want? This. So put an alarm on this line. If you see a candle close around above it, bid this whole area. Price discovery. Listen, this works until it doesn't. They might all fail now. We might have seen it, but like, how many examples do you need to see before you say, hey, maybe that's going to work? SRM on the Bitcoin pair. It's flipping a key level, but it's not the highs. This would be the high here. Let's see. Idea is the same here, by the way. Even if it's not the all-time high, this is generally a resistance to support. We had this ascending wedge, which theoretically breaks down more often than not. Retest and retest of this high should be targeting here. But let's look at it on the dollar pair. Same as AVAX. So this is an opportunity. This is an opportunity. It hasn't happened yet. It's like this was before it happened, right? That's exactly what you're looking for. A close above 1290 and then buy the break, right? Same exact thing. Break through, retest, up. So SRM and AVAX, looking at these right now, are the ones that I would be watching to have the most potential for it to happen again. Let me, one broke its all-time high overnight. Let's take a look. Yeah. Okay. I don't know if that's the all-time high. Well, look, this was the all-time high over here. So this was the new all-time high. That's on the Bitcoin pair. And look at that retest of the top of that range. So I bet this will continue up. But let's look at the USDT pair. This is another one that got, okay, so listen, these are all getting rejected right now. And this is an example of why you don't necessarily want to buy the breakout, right? SRM, wick. AVAX, wick. These are all getting rejected right now because of the general market. So listen, we had this queued right here. Exactly, right? Hit this target. This was the target of that move, but now you want this. So actually, you know, from here. That's another one. So line these up, guys. I mean, I'll be keeping you abreast, but these are the coins we're talking about. What is your preferred method to find exit prices once an asset is in price discovery? It's a great, great, great question, John, because it's very hard. A lot of people use fib extensions. I'm not a big fan of fib extensions. I mean, you could like whatever, go from here to here, actually. And then, you know, like that was a big move. And then you can add fib extensions. Watch. Could add all these different fib extensions and use them as targets. That's what a lot of people do. Pull fibs, use them as extensions. For me, I just like start to reasonably scale out after percentages generally on the way up. Or honestly, like I start to try to build longer positions. Then if the market changes, I'll manually start to exit, because it is very hard to find targets on this. Like, I mean, if you bought Solana at $58, good luck knowing it was going to 216, and it'll probably still continue up. So at that point, I'm more concerned about my stop loss than I am about my take profits, to be quite honest, because if you think the market's bottoming, these can continue up for a very long time. But the answer is, once it tops like that, maybe the next time it's there, you sell a little bit, sell a little bit, sell a little bit, and scale out. I always scale out of everything. It's never a binary decision, personally. Just looking through your comments here. People still talk about Safemoon, I guess. I mean, you got Davey Day Trader or whatever. I'm going to mute this for a second so I can drink this. People get mad when I drink on the mic. Cool. Doesn't Sol have a bunch of investor token unlocks occurring soon? I'm not sure. I haven't checked into that, but it's very likely. Most coins, especially if they had a long vesting, will have those unlocks, and that can definitely put pressure. Same kind of narrative, though, as the grayscale unlocks that didn't come to be. Usually those are, if it's a bullish coin, they're usually bought up very, 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 very quickly. My brain is swole from all the trading bombs Scott's been dropping. Thumbs up. Sign up to newsletter 100, not newsletter advice. Thank you, Daz. That's kind. You are kind. No, I don't scale out of everything. I'm saying when I'm in a position and it's doing well, I don't try. This is important. I don't try to enter all at once. I don't try to exit all at once, right? So I'm saying I scale out. Like if a coin's up 100%, I'm going to take my like original money out or something, ride the rest of it. And then every 25 or 50% on the way up, sell another 10% or so. Scaling out. How do you set alarms on other platforms like Binance? I do all my alarms on TradingView, right? So the alarm goes off on TradingView, then you run to your exchange to see where it is. So I don't have to worry about doing it there. eGold, I already looked at, guys. eGold, I already looked at. How do you feel about the XRP case and the implications for the entire crypto market? At this point, I think it's priced in. Like the worst case scenario has been assumed, and we saw what that did to XRP and kind of depressed the market for a while. So I'm not that concerned about it. I hope they win. I think it'd be good for the whole market. I would hate to see them lose and then everything retroactively be determined as security. So I think we should all be cheering for XRP regardless of your feelings about it. But I think that people now somewhat have assumed it will be deemed in a security. So I think we will see more upside from good news than downside from bad news, if that makes sense. Isn't scaling out more taxable transactions? Yes. And that's why we use software, right? Like I go into Zen Ledger or whatever, I download all my transactions. Talk about taxable transactions. Last year, I didn't do what I would consider trading heavily. I traded, but I don't think I traded that heavily. And I had 11,000 taxable transactions. And people were like, you took 11,000 trades, you degenerate. Well, the answer is, if you're asking why, if you trade with any size, like say you want to get 5 Bitcoin into an altcoin or 10 Bitcoin into an altcoin, A, you're not doing that all at once. You rock the market. B, you can't fill on a single order. So the thing about like an AMM, if you're trading on Uniswap, you fill from the liquidity pool. It's generally one transaction. If you're on Binance or something and you say like market buy, a huge market buy order, or even if you have a limit order buy and a bunch of people sell into it, every single sell or buy, every single one is a taxable transaction. So you can have 100 different fills on one trade that for you was just, I placed one order and all these people, and every single time someone sells into that buy wall or whatever, or you bought up a bunch of different people's orders, every one of those is technically a taxable transaction. So scaling out is a very minor problem when you consider that. Sorry, I'm trying to go through here. What do you think about Bitcoin dominance levels? Are alts in danger? Let's take a look. So first of all, this is, I alluded to this the other day. Sorry, Trying to multitask again. Dominance is a bit, charting dominance is a bit of a meme, right? Yes, we're at support on dominance. So if this goes up, alts should do poorly. Yes. So I would be cautious, I guess, in that regard. But Bitcoin dominance, like Bitcoin dominance, total market cap, altcoin market cap, depending on who's calculating them and what they're using, like we're constantly adding new altcoins. So it skews it, right? Like Bitcoin dominance back here, you were doing dominance against, like, you know, especially way back here, like dominance against what? 3 altcoins, dominance against 100 altcoins, dominance against 1,000 altcoins. Naturally, you're going to start to see pressure down on Bitcoin dominance when you're adding more competitors. So it's becoming a bit of a limiting usefulness, in my opinion. So total altcoin market cap, or total market cap, also increased by just adding new coins and not technically adding new money to the ecosystem, right? Right. Do everything possible to not create taxable events. I just try to make money and assume that paying taxes means I did well permanently, personally. Scott, besides Bitcoin and ETH, do you have a core position multi-year in alts, or do you just trade them? I have core positions, but I'll tell you how I get them. Okay. This is important because I talk about it all the time. People listen. This has to do with scaling out. If I have an altcoin trade that I've done exceptionally well at, I've probably started selling way lower than wherever it ends up. So I'll scale out, sell 20%, sell 20%, sell 20%. That last 10, 15, 20%, depending on the coin and where it's at, I move to my long-term holdings and I never touch them again. Right? So for me, Elrond now has been a multi-year hold, for example. Like I've done very well on a lot of coins over the years. Like I even have core positions in like TRX because I had done so well on them. And I watched that last 20% drop and whatever. That's how it works. Right? Oh God, the spams and the spammers in the chat. Spammers in the chat. Trying to block them. Let's look at, yeah, someone's saying DOT. So I'm going to look at DOT. I'm not generally trying to take requests, but the thing is, like, all these coins, every one of them actually, almost, not everyone, SRM's not, but most of them are layer 1 blockchains, right? So that's what we've seen pop. That's why Algo was really obvious. Everything's obvious in retrospect, but once you saw like Solana go and Avalanche go and all these layer 1s, well, why not another one next, right? Why not choose Algo or DOT? I mean, I'm very bullish on DOT here. This was the entry. I shared this in the newsletter. The first target was this 31 to 28 area right in here. It seemingly have flipped that. So now you're coming into resistance. So DOT, I'd be looking at like this, but ultimately the trade again is back here at the highs. So we're still pretty far from there, but it's kind of the same idea. Break out, start heading up to the highs. So yeah, I think that's got a ton of potential there. Let me try. Does your account specialize in crypto? I mean, I specialize in crypto, but I came to crypto from other markets. It's all kind of the same, right? Any thoughts on Peter Thiel-backed exchange named Bullish? They'll be first publicly traded crypto exchange, not broker. I haven't dug that deep into it, but I believe, Michael, correct me if I'm wrong, but this is the one that's being built on EOS. So it was huge news because they got a massive investment. And it's all going to be based on EOS, right? I don't have huge thoughts on it, but I can tell you that I have positive thoughts on Peter Thiel caring this much to fund an exchange that's going to be called Bullish, that's going to be available and publicly traded. That's good. That is good. I hear all layer 1 blocks are full on all layer 1 chains and ETH. All of them combined can't handle the demand. I don't believe that's true. I don't believe that that's true. You could prove me wrong and show me. I mean, I talked to Benjamin Minku this morning from Elrond, and they're nowhere near their levels of demand. They're layer 1. Why do you trade rather than just invest? Great question, John. First of all, I love trading, but I'm smart enough to know that most people lose and that I could lose as well. So you've probably heard me say a million times, I only trade with 15% of my capital maximum. Everything else is an investment. I believe everyone should generally be investing. And if you're going to trade, you view your trading portfolio as money you're willing to light on fire. So the answer is I don't trade rather than just invest. I invest and I trade a little. And I've done well making money doing so. But that was after years and years and years and years and years of loss. I asked for a referral. I'm in Florida too, and I don't think my accountant understands its capacity needed. Well, I would generally just dig into like Zen Ledger or one of those platforms, and then they actually have a partnership with an accountant who's great, so you can find that on there. Yeah, ADA just started yesterday. How could it be full? I agree. Like ADA has smart contracts, doesn't mean that they're, whatever. Why not sell puts? Well, it's American. It's a little interesting as an American, right? Check out VET. I'll look at VET. But VET's not qualifying, I can tell you right now, for what we're looking at here. This is, I mean, I think VET needs to get about 15 cents again, because this was a very clean rejection here. And now you're back below this line as well, which to me was the line. But like, right, I mean, what you're looking for if you want to be bullish on VET, that's your path that you want to see if it follows these. That's the answer. That is the answer, guys. Sorry, guys. I'm trying to catch up over here. We love you in Slovenia. Matic chart, please. I'll look at Matic. I love Matic. Another one Matic I have as a long-term investment because I've been in it a really, really long time and it's done exceptionally well. So I consider Matic a long-term investment. That said, right now it's just ranging and testing support. So if that breaks and closes below, you've got all these wicks below, you're looking at $1. That's not necessarily happening. If this holds, I still think we go back to $1.70 again soon. Pretty quick and clear. I have Matic in my Roth IRA. I'm trying to pull a Peter Thiel. If you're wondering what he's referencing, Peter Thiel basically like took stocks from IPO, I believe Facebook, took stocks from IPO and put them in his IRA so they would be not taxed when they were still under that like $6,000 a year threshold. It was worth nothing. And now he can hold them with billions of dollars tax-free in there. Guys, I need to exit the building. Got so much happening. Haven't even had time to eat lunch. Parting thoughts. Be careful with leverage. Only use it if you know how to use it, and only use it with a very small part of your portfolio. That's A. All the other things I said about leverage, revisit them. It's important. Next, watch those coins I just talked about, AVAX, SRM, etc. Look for the same pattern. I will keep you updated if they break out and go into price discovery. That would be super spectacular. C, I will be back at 9:30 a.m. Eastern daily time like I've been doing every single freaking day. Every day. It's awesome. I love it. Sorry. I love talking about crypto, so I just do it. Show up. And then back again for another afternoon live stream at 1:30 on Wednesday. Tomorrow's podcast, my God, Idan Yago, the founder of Sovereign, my second conversation with him. This dude will make you see the potential of Bitcoin like no human being ever in history. I definitely suggest that you read that, and then everything down in the description, guys. Please check out Kava, check out Compass Mining, check out my newsletter, sign up for the newsletter, even if you just do the free one, sign up. Otherwise, guys, it's been super real. This has been fun. Hope you learned something because I know I did. Peace.